months now since I've joined the team. And I have to say, I am just loving being a part of Bridges to Life. But we haven't been able to sit down too often because we're just so busy. And so I'm happy to have an opportunity to sit down and just talk a little bit more about you.
Yes.
So, Coach Cheryl, tell me, what are you all about? How did you become Coach Cheryl?
Ooh, let me see. I became Coach Cheryl out of no power of my own. I had no idea that I was going to become Coach Cheryl 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years ago.
Yeah, so I launched Bridges to Life in January of 2020 because my 31-year career with a major organization kind of came to a screeching halt that I was not anticipated. So I had to make some decisions about whether I'm going to relocate for the 5th time with an organization or whether I was going to stay put. But staying put meant I would have to leave that position. So I always have looked at this as that God closed the door that He knew I wouldn't open up and walk out of on my own. So He closed it and forced me to look at something different. And I knew my entire life I've always been one to help people, but I never knew what that looked like. In management and leadership roles in my organization, I was helping. And I think all of those things and skills have all transferred to the coaching, but I knew there was more. I knew there was a deeper help that I had for people. I knew that I wanted to help women, particularly women and men, but women particularly, become more confident in themselves, have an increased level of self-esteem, feel good about being authentic, because those were some of the things I was not many years ago. So being able to have the experiences that I have now, I said, well, how can I do that? And doors just kept opening, so I left the role. It gave me time to start thinking, well, what can I do? So I just started taking coursework. Okay. Without knowing what I was going to do with that coursework at all. Pastoral counseling coursework. I moved into coaching. I became ICF certified and International Coaching Federation, not even knowing what was going to happen. And then I met a random person literally on the street that asked me had I ever thought about opening my own business, and I said no. And he said, well, I have an office in the back of my establishment that I can rent to you for hardly nothing if you want to get started. Wow. That's where it came. So that's proof to me that sometimes you just have to keep moving without knowing the end destination and what it looks like, and just allow God to go ahead and make the steps ahead of you, and He'll just keep opening the doors or closing them. So that's how it started, and I launched it on my late mother's birthday, January 11th, 2020, and she was there with me and able to be a part of the launch. And it's also my brother's birthday the same day, so there was just reasons. Everything just kind of came together, and since that point, I've just been honored to be able to help so many people. I love watching them grow from a certain point with me and just watching them bloom. Yeah. My whole thing is watching people bloom, being able to just transform right in front of my eyes. Yeah. And God continues to open doors. I'm also now the director of a leadership development program for Black women in IT. Okay. Helping them bloom, mind, body, and soul. I have no tech background, so there's nothing to do with that. But helping them, again, understand who they are so that they can really succeed in an area where there are not many Black women, especially in leadership positions in tech. So that whole thing of imposter syndrome, do I belong here, all of that comes up. So just having this diverse space and environment to work in has just been such a blessing.
That is amazing. Me personally, I would have been scared to death. You said that this career that you had came to a screeching halt. Something you've been doing for many, many years, went up through the ranks, and if that comes to a screeching halt, and then it's like now it's time to pivot. that is a life-changing, life-altering moment that really could have gone in quite a few different ways.
Yes.
And so I almost feel like I know the answer, but I'll ask anyway. Were you fearful in the unknown? And how did you conquer that fear to say, yeah, I'm just taking these courses, but then there wasn't a decision. There was an intentional decision that says, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Were you fearful?
So was I fearful? On a scale of 1 to 10, probably like 100. And so, yes, it's probably more than 100. How did I navigate that though? Faith. You know, my parents instilled a great deal of faith and strength and, you know, perseverance. And I believe that's where it came from, because I don't know how I could have done it on my own. And in addition to the career coming to a screeching halt, a marriage of over 20 years came to a screeching halt.
Wow.
Right in the same year, months apart. And so I look back at that. And say, wow. But my ability to persevere through that, and not mine, but my ability because of God, has allowed me to be able to help so many other people and realize, even if I don't say anything, but the example that says, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. But it's the trust, it's the faith, and I do believe there are things that we have to go through so that we can grow, so that we can go. We've got to grow so that we can go. So he has allowed me to grow and go, but still maintain amazing relationships, still maintain my family, my sons, you know, all of that helps people to really realize what they can also do. But it's not easy. But it's possible.
It's not easy, but it's possible.
Yes, so possible.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
it's not easy, but it's possible.
It is. And one thing I also did during that process was authored a journal.
Come on.
A book.
Come on.
The Self-Love
You was
Journal.
at work.
The Self-Love Journal, 12 Ways to Love Yourself Like God Wants You to. And it's a journal that gives people a chance to reflect on where they are in their life. Scriptures that will apply to all of my situations, you know, I share in that journal. Things that I, you know, went through and how I've been able to move from fear to faith. How I've been able to move from lack to life. How I've been able to move to just be able to remain calm and trust in the process. So so all of those things, you and I have talked about this before, where you've said where when you coach people, it's also growth for you. Right? So writing that journal was also growth for me. I learned from it, and now others are being blessed by it as well.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So I know our time is a little limited, but I cannot leave this conversation without asking you. You know, we kind of talked about the past. We talked about how you got to be in Coach Cheryl. Where do you see Coach Cheryl going 10, 20 years from now? What would you like to see Bridges to Life come to in the next couple of years?
I would like to see Bridges to Life be an organization that can reach as many people as possible with helping them to understand who they are. So that they can really understand who they want to be. Bridges to Life, you think about that bridge. That there's a bridge that we're on one end, not really understanding who we are. And there's the other end of the bridge that we can see who we want to be. But many of us are living in the gap. It's in the gap right there in the middle of that bridge, you know. There's a proverb that says one of the most difficult things in life to do is to decide which bridge to cross and which bridge to burn. So we're in the middle, in that gap. So I want to see Bridges to Life in many avenues, whether it be reaching more people with books, if there's more, being able to speak to the masses is something that I want to be able to see for Bridges to Life, being able to reach as many people as possible, because there's so much that's needed. And I know I can't do it by myself, we can't do it by ourselves, but the more exposure, the more visibility, the more things that we do will reach more and more people, and they'll share it. And we may not even know that they share it.
Yeah.
But I want them to. That's the vision.
That's what I like to hear. Well, it sounds to me that through your extreme faith, right, and your fearlessness, not because you didn't have fear, but you did it in spite of fear, I'm just sure that your vision will be honored by God through your faithfulness. And so I am grateful to be a part of the team.
Thank you for being a part of the team and the vision and where we can go and what God can do.
I'm looking forward to seeing it all and being in partnership with you as you go through. So
Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.